Whatever you're up against, whatever you're going through, this is only a test. All of us this morning are either coming out of a test, headed towards a test, or we're being tested right now. But the good news is it's only a test.
The progress is in the process. And if you don't do it, he can't bless it. You got to throw everything. The misnomer is you have grossly underestimated what it takes to succeed. Want to be a doctor? Work that thing.
You may not understand why it's taken so long, why it hasn't turned out the way you thought, why you're in a lonely season. But everything you've been through was to strengthen you, to develop you, to prepare you. God wouldn't have allowed it if it wasn't part of the process. Without it, you couldn't give birth to what's in you. Keep passing the test. Keep doing the right thing, then your time is coming. Your baby is on the way. What God promised, he will bring to pass.
The saddest thing I have ever seen is a wasted opportunity. I've seen people misunderstand the opportunity, pollute it with arrogance or self-aggrandizement, and lose the opportunity.
Listen to me. You have been given an opportunity. You have been given an opportunity of a lifetime. And if you think you're going to blow up, if you think you're going to get to the next level by luck, you got another thing coming.
You're not going to go through life and get everything you want all the time. And you need to learn to be happy anyway. Need to trust God. If that's what God wants you to get, then he'll get it to you. And if it's not coming to you right now, then just be a happy camper anyway.
Opportunity comes in chaos. A chance to stand up. A chance to get it right. A chance to make a U-turn. It may not be for everybody. It is how you perceive the chaos, whether you determine it to be opposition or opportunity. The process, the little steps that make a mile. It is not the destination. It is the things you learn along the way. It is the people who beguiled you and tricked you that make you wiser. Wisdom is made out of the stupid things you did before you got it. Don't miss it. That process is invaluable to you getting there. Does that mean that you have to be my age before you get there? Absolutely not. But it does mean that you don't go from thinking a thought to producing an idea without pain. The gestation period is critical. Gestation creates formation.
Now, my approach to my better future very early on in my career was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed. I sure hope things will change for the better. Then here's what I found out. They're not going to change. When you change, when you get better, it'll get better. Don't put it on someone else. Hope that someone else will change it for you. Take responsibility for yourself. You can't change the circumstances or the seasons or the wind. You can change whether or not you go for the skills, multiply your value by 2, 3, 5, 10. That you've got charge of. That you have control of. You don't have control of the constellations. Learn some new skills. You have control over that. And if you don't, that's your fault. You've got to take personal responsibility. You've got to be self-reliant. Nobody else can change your life, alter your ambitions, pave a golden road for you. It's up to you. Be responsible for yourself. Learn to reap the harvest without complaint. Take full responsibility for everything you do. Be responsible to yourself. It's your crop.
I know people do things that hurt you. Everything is not fair, and everything is not just, and everything's not right. Sometimes you've done the very best and you don't get selected and you don't get the opportunity and you haven't gotten recognized. You cannot afford to get bitter, because if you get bitter, you will never get better. You got to get that out of you. If you got to cough it up, if you got to throw it up, if you got to pray it up, you got to get it out of you. There's a curse on it. There's a curse. You got to get it out. 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 He left you. He cheated on you, but get it out. Get it out of you. Get it out of you. So you go ahead.
When you look at over 33 million people have lost their job, this is unprecedented. There's trauma that's going on all across the country. It affects all of us. There are things that we can do and things that we must do to pick ourselves up. Success is not final, and failure is not fatal. We all have the challenge to search deep within ourselves to find our inner hunger, which is our power.
By not being prepared, you make the choice of getting caught in some of life's unpleasant circumstances, failures, personal losses. By not being prepared, it's your choice. Now here's the other side of it. By being prepared, you increase your chances of success. Some people tend to blame others for their mistakes. Concentrate on the work at hand and demand of yourself the discipline to stay focused. If you have a long list of things to get done within a day, do the toughest ones while your concentration is at its peak. Learn your body's rhythms and do the jobs that need the most concentration when you're able to do them best. Use your discipline to keep your mind in line. When you recognize the need to concentrate more, when you recognize this need, it will come easier and easier. Focused concentration can become a habit. Make your mind pay attention. Discipline yourself to be where you are. Work at work and play at play. Don't mix the two.
That's the character test. It's like, what do you do with messages of error? And that's a tricky issue. Okay, so here's a solution to that. Here's what not to do. I am a bad person. I got to see myself. I'm a bad person. I might as well just go jump off the bridge. It's like, no, that's not good, because what that means is that every time you try to learn something, you're going to make a mistake, because what do you know? So you're going to make mistakes. And if the rule is every time you make a mistake, you're going to go jump off the bridge, then that's not a useful problem-solving strategy. And so when you make a mistake, you don't get to beat yourself to death with a club. It's a bad strategy, and you'll have your internal tyrant in there who's perfectly happy about doing that. That's the overactive superego that Freud talked about. Maybe it came to you via a parent who was too authoritarian, or a grandparent, or maybe it's just you because you're disagreeable and neurotic or hyper-conscientious. You'll take yourself apart. Then the question is, well, what does that mean? Well, maybe you're not looking at the world right. Maybe your goals are wrong. Maybe you're not acting properly. If you take yourself and you put yourself in a new environment, new genes turn on in your nervous system. They encode for new proteins. You're full of biological potential that won't be realized unless you move yourself around in the world into different challenging circumstances, and that'll turn on different circuits. It's that by exposing yourself to different environments, you put different physiological demands on yourself all the way down to the genetic level, and that manifests new elements of you. Because you take yourself out of your dopey little village, and that's just the little bounded you that everyone knows and that isn't very expanded. And then you go somewhere dark and dangerous, and while you do that, you have adventures, and they toughen you and pull more out of you, partly because you're becoming informed.
I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work, and I tried that and it didn't work. Because you think that trying something for a little while ought to bring you a big return. But life does not work like Apple. Life does not click and it appears. Some stuff takes time. Greatness takes time. It takes time. You got to be prepared to get 1,000 no's to get one yes. The thing you need to win is resilience. You can't just keep trying different stuff, because you can never say something didn't work when you didn't half try. Be resilient. Stick it out. Winter, spring, summer, fall,
resilient.
Life is going smoothly, then the bottom falls out. Everything is coming up roses, then the bottom falls out. Everything is working out in his favor, and then the bottom falls out. That life starts going your way finally, then the bottom falls out. You plan your retirement, and now you have to take care of your grandchildren. You plan for life to work a certain way, and then the bottom falls out. You're looking for this, and God sends that. You have to be awfully immature to think that every day is going to be a good day. Some days are better than other days. And some days, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
What would you do if you knew you could fail but understood that that failure could be a real blessing in your life? Now that's a good question, because I think we don't reach our possibilities, not because the door isn't open, but because we stop before we get to the door. Every possibility is surrounded by obstacles and challenges. I've never had a possibility with a clear path that I had no opposition to and just ran up there and knocked on the door and everything opened and everything was good. That only happens in the movies, friends.
Resilience. Resilience, the ability to return to the original form after being bent or being compressed. That's the dictionary's definition of resilience. The ability to readily recover from illness or depression. Resilience, being able to withstand setbacks, financial crisis, loss of loved ones, loss of enterprise, and loss of health. How would you ever handle it if you lost everything you had today? What would it take for you to pull yourself up and start all over again? How resilient are you? Could you learn from all your disappointments and start all over again? What would it take? It would take a lot of positive self-talk to muster up the energy to begin again. It would take a lot of concentration to block out the noise and the clutter and the negative voices of others around you. It would also take what? A lot of self-reliance. Your future success has everything to do with you. What's happened has happened. You would need to get on with your life and begin again. It would take a lot of faith and trust in God to move ahead. It would take a lot of self-appreciation, knowing that you have the skills and the talent and the strength to do it one more time. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, no matter how large or how small.
Possibilities are always surrounded by challenges. You got to get through the challenges to get to the possibilities, but it's worth it. It's kind of like a Tootsie Roll. You got to get through the hard stuff so you can get to the good soft stuff. That's the way it is with life. That's the way it is with possibilities.
What's the use of always keeping thinking of the past? Each must have his tribulation, water with his wine. Life, it ain't no celebration. Trouble, I've had mine, but today is fine. It's today that I'm living, not a month ago, having, losing, taking, giving, as time wills it so. Yesterday, a cloud of sorrow fell across the way. It may rain again tomorrow. It may rain, but say, ain't it fine today? If a cloud of sorrow comes over here, ain't it fine today? Living in the moment, getting everything we can out of where we are in the moment where we are right now. The other thing is willingness to let people and things go. You want to live a life of fulfillment. You've got to be willing to let certain people go in your life. When they're no longer good for you, just let them go. Just to hold on tenaciously really doesn't make really good sense, all right? Just many times we do it because we don't realize that we might desire it, but we don't need it. Face the truth about life and deal with it. Whatever happens to you, use everything for your upliftment, learning, and growth. Everything that happens, use it for your upliftment. What can I get from this? How did I end up here? What's the blessing in this for me? Ask yourself that, whatever it is, and don't let it go until you get your blessing out of it, because there's a blessing there. There's something for you in everything that happens to you for you to learn from that experience. Look at it, examine it, analyze it until it reveals itself to you, and then get what you need from that and move on.
It takes time to make changes in habit and discipline. Here's the ultimate challenge. You've got to have patience with yourself. It takes time to correct old errors in judgment. I'm telling you, it took me some time. I used to blame the government and blame taxes and blame the company. It took time to give that up and only blame myself. So have patience with yourself, number one. Number two is to keep doing it. Be persistent. As long as you are patient and persistent, it's hard to elude success. As long as you maintain patience and persistence, there's only one person, just one person, that will draw the line between success and failure. And that person is you. So be patient, be persistent. You need both patience and persistence together. And here's why. Lack of patience is probably the worst enemy of ambition. Impatience wants to give up. Impatience calls discouragement failure. But your ambition won't let you give up so easily. Not if you're persistent. What others may call failure, ambition calls a learning opportunity. Ambition knows that the longer the achievement is in coming, the more valued it is.
Oh, please, listen to yourself. You know the feelings. If you start listening to the feelings in your heart, and I'm doing it now more every day, I find that my feelings, I can trust them. And I say to you that as you look toward the future, you look at life on a daily basis. If you've heard something within yourself that you know that what you're doing now doesn't fit for you, it doesn't work for you, it's not giving you what you want, and there's something else that you want to do, don't allow that inner doubt in you to talk you out of it, to tell you why you're not good enough. You ignore that inner voice and all of the external voices. Don't judge the possibilities for what you can do based upon the circumstances, because the circumstances won't determine who you are. Don't determine what you're able to do based upon your resources. Don't determine what's possible for you based upon where your life is right now. Where your life is right now is not you. That's just what it is right now. But the possibilities for you are unlimited. It's unlimited if you're coming back from adversity and devastation. It's unlimited of what you can do. That's the capacity of human beings. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made. It doesn't matter how many flops you've had. It doesn't matter how much money you've lost. What you learn from life. Not losses, but investments of what's possible for you. And I say to you that once you start listening to yourself, and as you begin to act on your dream, you will start seeing things opening up for you. You'll start attracting people. You start brainstorming. Ideas will come out of nowhere as you focus on it. The key to it is to begin to focus, because as you focus on that which you want to do, that which we focus on, that which we give our energy to, it will begin to multiply. It will begin to expand. It will begin to develop your consciousness. And out of that comes your greatness. Out of that comes a commitment. Out of that comes a passion for life. Out of that comes a special power that you have in you. See, the powers that we have will never reveal themselves if we don't challenge them. Put yourself in a position where you can't retreat, where it's do or die, sink or swim. Here's what you'll find out. You'll develop incredible swimming skills. You'll find yourself stroking unlike you've ever seen before. Through the inspiration of desperation, you'll become more creative than ever before. All you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. Make sure you do all you can do.
Knowing when an opportunity is right and when more preparation is needed. Be patient in knowing the difference between when the opportunity is right and when more work needs to be done. Remain alert even if opportunity doesn't come right away. Keep looking. Be patient. Keep preparing for opportunities, even if there's a delay. Even if things aren't going just the way you think they should. Keep your disappointments at bay. Be prepared. Always be prepared. Don't let impatience allow you to give up. Take the little setbacks in stride. Don't let small disappointments discourage you. Don't let the little successes delude you. Avoid the emotional roller coaster that will always disrupt your plan.
You think things are gonna just go your way? Well, they're not gonna just go your way. You gotta make them go your way. You think things are gonna just happen for you? Well, they're not just gonna happen for you. You gotta make them happen.
You will become whatever you cultivate. Whatever you feed, that's what's going to grow in your life. I'm saved, but I got to change my diet. I'm saved, but I got to change who influences me, who speaks into my life, who feeds my mind, who determines what look good on me, who determines what I can do and who I am. What's wrong with you is all those people who knew you win, because if they knew you win, they'll hold you to back then. I gotta go.
Because whatever you identify as the source of your stress determines what you consider the source of your peace. And that's why I don't like to blame people for my stress. Because if people brought me the stress, then I need people to change for me to have peace. But I'm past the point in my life of wanting for people to have to act a certain way, for me to have peace in my own heart.
Wisdom, like the learning capacity of the human brain, is infinite. There will always be more to know, and there will always be plenty of room in your brain for everything you learn. Life is a paradise, really, if you're a person who genuinely wants wisdom. We all want to be successful, and I'm certainly in favor of that, but I've known some people who literally wanted all the money they could get. Not what the money could buy, but the money itself. Wanting all the money in the world is like wanting to know all there is to know in the world. Except the man who wants all the money is miserable. He'll never get it all, and he'll never think he has enough. Even if he had rooms filled with $1,000 bills, he'd still want the next man's nickel. And he'd be in pain about that, filled with envy about it. The man who wants wisdom also wants to look back over his shoulder at the other guy, but he just wants to see what the other guy is reading. And if the other guy is reading a book he hasn't read yet, he's actually happy about it. He looks forward to reading it himself. You don't have to give up something in order for me to have it. You can give me your wisdom and now I'll have it, but you still have it too. When one person shares wisdom with another, neither person is diminished. In fact, both are made wiser. Giving and taking is such a basic experience for most of us, but the whole concept of giving and taking doesn't really apply to wisdom. There's no giving and taking, there's only sharing. Unlike the other things people hunger for, wisdom is very hard to visualize. We could imagine rooms full of money, but how can you picture a room full of wisdom?
So easy. So easy to put things off. So easy to say, you're going to do it tomorrow. Well, I want you to reprogram your brain and tell yourself that tomorrow is not a viable option. You do it today. You get it done today. That's what you do.
It's not what's happening to you that's hurting you. It is the threat of what could happen to you that is stealing every good day you got. You can't enjoy the good days because the enemy is threatening you, so you don't get any peace when things are well, and you don't get any peace when things are bad. Because when things are good, you're worried about them going bad. And when they're bad, you're dealing with what bad happened, and you haven't had any rest. You've had sleep, but you haven't had rest. You're tired when you get up. You're tired when you go down. You are up under attack.
Wisdom is not a thing you can buy, or a course you can take in school, or a degree you can earn. Wisdom is not really something you can get from another person, yet you can gain some wisdom from everyone you meet. Wisdom is something a wise man always feels he needs more of. Yet the true sources of wisdom lie nowhere but within ourselves. There are plenty of people who are too smart for their own good, people who are filled to overflowing with facts and technical knowledge, but who are sadly lacking in human understanding and common sense. What is this thing you call common sense? What is this stuff you call human wisdom? What is this thing you call strong character? I've seen people who have everything you could possibly want, every object you could dream of, everything you can drive down the street or sail on the ocean or fly through the air. But on the inside, where the real person lives, they're broke. They haven't got anything. They haven't got a clue.
If you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. Quitting is guaranteed failure. When you're trying, you're going to fail. You have to make sure that your dreams and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option.
Either you take on the shape of your environment or you resist it and transform by the renewing of your mind. Everything you've ever changed about your life started in your head. It started in your head. It started in your mind. It started with a decision. It all starts in your mind.
Now, in trying to achieve your life's goals, would you prefer to fight against this great force? Would you want to struggle against this mighty power? Or would you rather enlist this great power in your cause and make the inevitable work for you instead of against you? Time is that great power I'm talking about. Time is the mightiest force in the world, or even in the universe. Why would you ever choose to fight time when you could have time on your side? Who wouldn't want to harness the great river of time that flows through all of life? Why wouldn't you want to use the power of time to generate power in every area of your existence? To charge your every aspiration with lightning bolts of electricity? To turn the turbines of your hopes and dreams? Well, there is only one way to make time work for you, not against you. And that's with patience.
So I want to challenge you to waste no more effort wrestling with other people. Your destiny, your future is not predicated on the decision of someone else. You wasted too much of your life trying to change other people's mind about you. It doesn't matter what they think about you. God is not going to bless you by their opinion. God is going to bless you by how you see yourself.
I must be inclined that it's somebody who's holding back on a decision, holding back on moving forward, and you're holding back because of fear. Fear of being rejected, being replaced, fear of people that you want to accept you won't accept you, fear of moving out. When fear controls you, your decisions become illogical.
And because you are up under attack in your mind, in your emotions, you are lonely. No matter who you're around, no matter how many people know you, you end up alone because you are up under a private battle that you can't talk about.
Patience. There's a type of person for whom everything is undertaken out of desire to achieve a goal. They exercise in order to get in shape. They start a business in order to make money. I'm sure that some of these people are very successful, and they are certainly highly organized. A person of truly strong character sees success as an adventure, not as a point with an estimated time of arrival. Impatient thinking can lead a person into some very big mistakes. When you are always looking somewhere else, whether it's down the road or up toward the top of the mountain or off toward the left field fence, when you're looking off in the distance like that, you often miss what's under your very own nose. That means the pleasure and fun of living which come in the here and now get overlooked for something that not only isn't here yet, but might never arrive. True patience is more than just a waiting game. Patience doesn't mean you sit around hoping for something to happen. Patience is not a passive quality. Sometimes patience can mean doing something else entirely, thinking about another venture, taking off in a different direction while you give events a chance to run their course.
You got to come up with some times in your life that you unplug from this crazy world. Turn your phone off. We live in a world today that's got us so focused on everybody else that we're comparing our life to everybody else's life, and anxiety and fear come whenever you start dwelling on the past and whenever you're afraid of the future.
your mind. Slept 8 hours and you wake up still tired. Your mind has been in turmoil all night long. You've been wrestling in your sleep. Your body went to sleep, but your mind is still caught up in a warfare. Your mind is the battleground.
It's strange, but young people have a much more difficult time with patience than people who have more experience in the world. It seems like the older people get, the more able they are to wait, despite the fact that sometimes they have considerably less time to wait in. You could argue that older people ought to learn how to act quickly and decisively, while younger people need to learn how to wait. When you're young, you really have just about all the time in the world, and you just can't wait to use it. For a young person to have patience is a rare and powerful thing. How can we explain that impatience of the young? Maybe it's because when you're a teenager or in your early 20s, 1 year seems like a very long time. But more mature individuals can actually look back 10 or 20 or even 30 years, and they can use the knowledge they've gained to create patience and a sense of perspective.
I still believe that things can turn around for me. I still believe that this is not my final position. I still believe that my family can get better. I still believe that if I lose this job, there is another job for me. Still believe that my marriage is not over. Turn to your neighbor and say, you got to keep your hope. Clap somebody and say, I believe. Is there anything you believe in that you'll sweat for, that you'll work for, that you'll labor for, that you'll commit yourself to? Is there anything that you love other than yourself? You can't help victims when you see yourself as a victim. You have to announce your recovery to yourself. You've got to command yourself, get up out of this hospital bed and start to moving.
Clarity. Because when you get in a storm, you become real clear of what matters and what does not. When you get in a storm, you're not trying to say, oh my God, let me get my Gucci bag. No, no, no. When you're in a storm, you get clarity as to what matters. Your priorities come into view when you're in a storm.
So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. There's only so much you can do, and you cannot completely eliminate it. But you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you've got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it.
Dreams without goals remain dreams. Just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals. Goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand?
Someone's gonna get the candy in life. There's always candy in life. That piñata eventually always breaks down. Do you want to be the person who was there in the beginning, hitting as hard as you could and sacrificing and never get the candy? Or are you going to get something for your pain? Are you going to get something for your effort? Are you going to get something for this sacrifice you're making? You got to get something for this pain. You got to stick in the game until the candy comes out, and then we all get to celebrate. I promise you there's going to be a payoff for you.
The big challenge is to make something out of each opportunity. Now, if winters are always going to occur in our life, shouldn't we benefit from them too? Come the next winter, you could be on the inside looking out, seated by a warm fire, the company of a good friend, and those unique feelings of security in spite of the circumstances or the season.
You have to be honest with yourself and truthful with yourself. And I think a lot of times what it is for me, I was expecting things from people that I wasn't giving to people. And so that's very selfish, you know? So I had to look at myself and say, you know what, this part of my personality needs to be changed. It needs to be fixed. So it's that reality that you have to have with yourself, and that truthfulness, and not knowing that it doesn't make you weak by admitting these things. It doesn't make you less by admitting these things.
Begin to know now that the night will pass, and as you learn to grow and progress, you will better understand how to handle every night and better live every day. Don't be afraid to face the facts of life. It is not negative to understand that the winters always come. Don't clip the word impossible out of the dictionary. Don't say, I don't want to hear the problem. I don't want to see the difficulty. Don't show me the weeds. Don't say anything negative. Only see the positive. That's foolish. There is a thin line between positive thinking and kidding yourself. And remember, there's also a thin line between faith and folly. The rest of us must look around us for wisdom, and look for it in everything we read and in everything we do and in everyone we meet. And most of all, we must look for it in ourselves, perhaps more than any other element of strong character. Wisdom is a quality that we must earn and learn on our own. Yes, wisdom is a unique component of character. If you don't have it, nobody can tell you what it is. And if you do have it, probably you'll be wise enough never to say, I'm a wise person. Part of wisdom is knowing what you lack and looking for it and asking for it. Another part of wisdom is knowing, at the same time as you ask, that there are no final answers. There are always more questions. There are always more things and people you don't now know and haven't yet heard of or seen. So you may have that retirement package. You may have the medical benefits, the pension, the Sunbelt home, and a steady income you can live on. What good is it if you're isolated? And I don't mean just physically alone. I mean isolated from a real sense of connection with what's come before and with what lies ahead. It's here that wisdom provides very real, very practical benefits. It's wisdom that provides a sense of life's value and assurance that all the effort has been worthwhile. There's no question that we must take care of our material needs, but a fulfilled life requires meaning as well as substance. Wisdom is the fruit of experience. Experience is something everyone gets if they live long enough, but not everyone knows what to do with it. Wisdom comes from seeing the world and the people in it, and from noticing patterns and connections, and from using what other people let you see of themselves in order to understand your own self.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.
The hardest person to forgive can be yourself. As powerful as it sounds, forgiveness is the biggest gift we can give ourselves, but it's not an easy one to attain. People who withhold self-love often find that they are constantly at war with themselves. So when things go wrong in a relationship, it leaves them feeling unfulfilled and unloved. Having the punishing feeling that we have done wrong things in the past makes it difficult to forgive ourselves. This self-punishment we inflict upon ourselves means we are constantly holding ourselves accountable because we don't want to repeat the same mistake that has hurt the people that we love. Unfortunately, this negatively critical mindset will not do us or our loved ones any good. On the contrary, it will make us feel disconnected. It also breeds insecurity, fear, self-rejection, and self-hatred. These poisonous feelings stop us from finding true happiness and love. Humans, by our social wiring, are born to connect. We crave to belong, to love, and be loved. In this equation, the presence of another being or situation results in pleasant and unpleasant experiences. While we feel loved by them, we can also feel hurt by them. And feeling hurt, dejected, disappointed, or wronged is exactly the space we enjoy in our lives. When you forgive, you're instantly released from the emotional attachment that brings pain and suffering to you. With this release, the flow is released in your life as well. And in this process, you're ushered forward in your life, towards new possibilities. Forgive someone who has hurt you today. Just do it. Give yourself the gift. Do it for you. Unburden yourself from the toxicity of holding on to unforgiveness. Don't let it steal your peace anymore. Challenging emotions, including guilt and shame, can fuel addiction. However, when you learn to confront these feelings with self-forgiveness, you begin the process of healing. Learning to forgive yourself gives you the power to confront your past and let go of the memories that are caged within you. It can be great to have alone time, to have a bath, to cook ourselves a nice meal for one, but this isn't self-love. It's more self-reliance and self-sufficiency. Self-love, on the other hand, is inextricably linked to self-esteem, it being our ability to see ourselves as a flawed, imperfect individual and still hold ourselves in high regard. Self-love is the ability to not fall into a puddle of shame or self-hatred even when we mess up. It's trying new things knowing that we could fail without thinking of ourselves, therefore, as failures. Self-reliance is often something we develop because we have to. It can end up becoming second nature and can be a great skill that helps keep us going when we feel like we're out in the world on our own. But when it comes to self-love, it can often feel more challenging, more conscious, and less automatic. It is hard work. It looks like constantly speaking against our inner critic and trying our best to unlearn the countless unhelpful messages we've received. It is noticing when what we are doing is more self-reliance and questioning the often internalized belief that all we have is ourselves to depend on, that we would be bothering others if we were to ask for help. We all struggle loving ourselves, trusting others, coping with our emotions, communicating effectively, understanding ourselves, honoring our potential, and feeling relatively authentic, confident, and unashamed. And we beat ourselves up for not nailing these things 100% of the time. If we let others into the less filtered parts of our lives, we would notice that we're not alone in any of these struggles. So challenge yourself today by letting a loved one, a friend, or a colleague in on what might be really going on for you. Have that vulnerable conversation. But forgiveness of ourselves means having compassion for ourselves. And having compassion means being kind to ourselves. It means reminding ourselves that we are only human. Sometimes we will lash out at people who mean the most to us. Sometimes we will say or do the wrong things, but that's okay. Life wouldn't be interesting if we always had it together. It's about acknowledging how you feel about the situation, reminding yourself that you are only human, that so many others have also messed up and feel terrible about it. and remind yourself that you're worthy of compassion and of forgiveness. Today, I'm forgiving myself for not getting enough sleep, which caused my anxiety to rise as well as my irritability towards others. Today, I'm forgiving myself for taking on so much and often feeling like I want to quit. And today, I'm forgiving myself for being so hard on myself when things don't go my way. The people that love us the most will always forgive us when we mess up. We deserve to forgive ourselves as well. We deserve to be that trusted place for ourselves when we fall short. We deserve to be the person that loves ourselves so much that when we feel like we didn't do our best, we can provide comfort to ourselves rather than criticism and judgment. Try giving yourself a break today. You're doing the best you can, and I can assure you that it is enough. So if you've messed up and it's tearing you apart, it's okay. But remember that you deserve forgiveness to continue on this beautiful life that you have been given. At the end of the day, what truly matters is that you can recognize your mistakes and correct them. With the endless possibilities of recovery, you now have the opportunity to seek forgiveness from yourself and others. You get to stop the cycle of shame and guilt and forgive yourself. Self-love and forgiveness is the key that unlocks the doors of recovery.